Wow, sense magic. What does that do for you?
You can sense whether the Numenera is active in situations where its
Hmm.
presence is not obvious. You must study an object or location closely for a minute to get a feel for whether the touch of the ancients is at work.
Hmm. How much does that cost?
I don't know, that's all it says.
Oh, maybe that's just like you get that for free.
It's because I'm a mystical mechanical.
Ah, cool. Let's see. Character options, descriptors.
It's the
Ah,
same way
no,
I get
that's in the
hedge
main
magic
one.
from.
Yeah. So let me see here. Mystical, mechanical,
It's
sense
page
magic. Yeah, okay,
36.
cool. You do sense that there is activity within this device.
Yeah.
It
Um,
is definitely an ancient device. That's
can I use my
Numenera.
Numenera skill then? Or
Ooh, yeah. I would say
okay.
that your Numenera skill does give you an asset in activating this device.
Okay.
So
I would like to use that skill. I
for
think
you,
I'm
it would
just trained,
be
not specialized in it.
yeah, and it would be easy to activate this for you.
Okay. So let's roll, see if I am with Amelia on the ones or what. 12.
Mm.
Ah.
It's pretty good.
It's actually a 10. You don't get the +2 anymore. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Okay, 10. Sorry.
But that's passes with flying colors. You spend a couple seconds studying this thing, and then your hand flashes out and pokes just like a couple of buttons seemingly at random. And immediately, the rock wall sort of divides into a number of sections and it sort of hisses open. And you feel this dry air come blowing out from inside of this monolith. What do you do?
Going
Yep.
to look inside.
So it's quite dark. Within an immediate radius, all you see is like rock walls heading back into this cavern, and there's actually like a strange synth-like nodule hanging up on the wall,
Hmm.
up on the upper right. It looks like about the size of someone's head. You don't know what it is though.
All
But
right.
the sound of this wind is ever increasing from outside.
I relay that information to those who are not standing next to me and Amelia. And I take a rock and kind of make it glow as well, and I roll it into the room.
Okay, cool. So you toss this rock from the floor into the room, and it rolls a little bit, and it clinks along the floor, and then it dips down over the edge of a ledge, and it falls into darkness, and you can no longer see it.
Do we hear it make a noise? Well, I guess I'm not in there. Never mind. Sorry.
You're close enough that you do hear this clack, clack, clack.
Okay. Um, if I look outside, like how close is the iron wind?
It'll probably be here in like a minute. It's like whipping over the landscape, and you can see the
We
grass
we need to
that's
go
like
in.
Yeah.
that's like turning into ashes, or like pockets of it are turning into like swaying tentacles that are
I
rising up from the
suggest we
ground.
either die by this thing that's about to kill us out here, or we go in and
I'd
roll
rather
the
not
And I and
die.
dice.
I,
I
I, I
say we
look at
go in.
I look at Amelia. I goes, ladies first, and
Oh,
I
I appreciate that comment and go first.
I ignore any
excellent.
and all invitation and just walk in.
Now, on the other side of this doorway, there is a second control panel, and also there's this shaft, right? There's a rough shaft that descends through the rock, and there are metal runners that are clinging to the surface of the shaft, four of them at sort of a square configuration that descends into darkness. There's another similar control panel next to the door that you just activated, and there's a series of gears and knobs on the wall next to the shaft itself. The wind is starting to howl in the entrance to the rock. Do you think you
oh
can get the door closed in time?
yeah, I'm gonna try to close the door with the
Yeah, I
levers.
scurry
Let's.
in and
I'm gonna use.
try to shut it.
Everyone's in, right? We're good. Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm gonna
Now
try to use the. Sorry, go ahead.
the wind has started whipping around you quite furiously, and the panel on the inside is slightly different than the one that you used to activate the door to open. So it's actually challenging now to you to close the door. And you
Okay.
are trained, but would you like to try and spend some intellect?
Mm, sure, I can spend one.
Okay, so in order to spend 1 level of effort, it costs you 3 points from your intellect pool, but you have 1 edge in your intellect, so it only costs you 2 points.
Okay. So I'm done.
So go ahead and mark down 2 points. That actually makes it an easy task for you to
Okay.
close this door with your training and your efforts. So go ahead and roll.
20.
Oh,
Oh, man,
perfect.
I didn't do that.
You just like slam
that.
your hand down on the panel, and the door immediately snaps shut.
I already knew how to open it, so
Nice.
closing it was easy. No
Shutting
problem.
you guys in the very dim light from
Alright.
the hedge magic that AAA has activated.
I'm gonna go over to the other panel that was over there that you said was in the center.
Yeah.
Look at that
Now,
one.
your sensing of the magic of the Numenera is, sort of, it's something you just do naturally as a result of being a nano. And you sense no Numenera at work within this panel, and you find a similar nodule to the one on the other panel, and you notice that this nodule is not glowing at all.
Okay. I relay that to Amelia because 2 heads are
You
better
mean
than
the other
the other panel that I was at before had like Numenera magic in it,
right?
essences. This one doesn't. I think it's more of a mechanical thing,
Well,
probably.
you sounded like some sort of a gear and pulley system.
Oh,
that-
actually, Maggie, chat is pointing out that means you don't spend points because you critted. So
Oh.
you,
So
Nice.
I keep my points.
yeah, exactly.
I like that. That makes me feel better about that.
Cool. So yeah, there's no Numenera magic at work here, and there's a nodule that's similar to the nodules on the other activation devices, and it is not glowing, in contrast to the other ones. And there is this shaft that descends through the rock. It looks like you could climb down though.
I'm sorry. So can I investigate it? Is it not glowing because it doesn't have
I
the
don't think it's
same
power.
power to it, or
Uh, Go ahead and use a skill to try and investigate this. Do you have the Numenera skill,
I
right?
do. I do as
Yeah.
well.
So go
Okay.
ahead and roll and see if you can determine anything about it.
I rolled a 16.
Awesome. So you start poking around with this, and as you do, you hear the entire structure that you're within start groaning and shaking, and it sounds like the iron wind is battering against the outside. But fortunately for you all, it seems like the door is holding strong against the onslaught of the iron wind from outside. As you investigate, you sort of poke and prod and strip a wire or two and cross them and try to figure out, is this still active? And you come to the conclusion that the reason that this panel is not working is because there's no power being routed to it.
Yep,
And
that's what I figured.
is there anything I personally can do to try to say route
Well,
the power from
Yeah,
the panel
can we
we
see
just
where it's
used
connected? So if we
No,
look at the
I
panel,
say
can we see
don't
where
be
the
a
panel's
dummy.
connected?
No, that's the only thing keeping the door closed. Don't
No,
do
no.
that.
Jesse, pocket. This is a different control panel. The control panel we're at right now is like in the center of the room. The one
Right,
that's
but
by the
didn't-
door is the one that was closing the door.
That's the only thing with power, though. If we reroute anything, the power's gonna come from that, right?
Oh, I see what you mean. If we rerouted the power,
if
well,
the power
it could or
on
it
that
could just
shuts
not.
down, if we lose the power on that, we're gonna lose our door. That's the only thing keeping us safe.
You know what,
I don't know.
Amelia? You do think that you could route power from the other panel to this panel. Do you want to?
yes, I do. I'm impulsive. I want to do it. I don't want to climb down.
Cool. You know that it's going to be a hard task to do.
We're gonna die in
Can we-
here.
can
We're gonna
we work
die.
together?
Would this be
assist each other?
would it be intellect? I would like to spend to make this an easier task.
It would be intellect. Can you work
Okay.
together? I'd say, gosh, collaborating on this kind of task. I'm going to just house rule it. I'm going to say that if you work together, if what's your name? AAA. If you succeed on a challenging roll, then you will be able to reduce the difficulty by 1 for Amelia.
Okay. But what if I don't succeed in the roll?
Then you won't reduce the difficulty.
Okay. So it was worth trying it.
Sure.
Seems
11.
like it. Okay, so you were not successful.
Sorry, I
So
tried.
I'm still gonna. So it would be 2 points out of my intellect pool.
Yep. So
And
go ahead and spend those.
okay.
And that reduces the difficulty by 1. So it's still quite hard, but if you are skillful, then you can do it.
I kind of look back over my shoulder, realizing that everyone is peering at me, especially Pocket.
I'm gonna. Go.
It made me
Oh.
really nervous. And when I went to do it, I dropped one of the tools, and I think I did something wrong.
Do any of you guys want to spend 1 XP in order to let Amelia re-roll that?
I don't have any XP.
I like glance over at Pocket as this happens.
It's too bad you didn't give me the.
As you glance over at me, I take one of my cigarettes out and light it and say, "We are fucked," and don't do a thing.
As you do that, I look down at my tentacle and realize that it's cold, and I pull that little socket off. Then I glance back over at Amelia, and I'm just like,
Yeah, I'm just leaning against the wall, smoking a cigarette, and just accepting my fate that we're gonna die here.
Okay, Amelia, nobody looks like they're going to be any help to you, so you turn your
I don't have XP.
you turn your focus back to the task at hand, and you try to clip another wire, and you didn't realize it, but this wire wasn't grounded. And so as you clip it, a surge of energy flows into your body, throwing your muscles rigid. You leap backwards and fall straight down the pit.
I'm gonna
as
try
this
to throw my whip down and grab him by the ankle or something with my whip.
Amelia,
I don't know.
mark down 1 XP and then
That's
give one of
weird.
your allies 1 XP.
I'm giving Maggie the XP.
Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
as me and Pocket see this happen, Steven,
Yeah.
I just reach over with my good arm and just grab the cigarette and take a drag. And then hand it back to him.
I allow this.
Awesome.
And then
Okay,
is
so
Maggie trying to
Maggie-
save him with his whip? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
AAA is trying to like whip out and save this guy. Man, what is that going to be? I'm going to say that's a challenging task.
So it's probably challenging.
And I think it's a speed task, actually. I don't think it's a might task.
Okay.
So, go ahead and, you could spend points from your speed pool to apply.
I will.
Okay.
How many?
So,
I can do 2 to make it super easy.
no,
Or
you have 1
1.
effort, so you can only spend 1 level of effort.
Okay.
You don't have a speed edge. Is that correct?
No, I don't.
Okay, so it costs you 3 points from your pool to apply 1 level of effort.
Okay, so, all right, there we go. And I'm gonna roll. And I'm rolling. Oh my god! I even smashed
Okay.
it still.
You have that 1 XP though, Maggie.
You lash out with your whip, and it's
You can
just
re-roll.
too slow. Amelia goes falling down this pit. And
Yeah,
let
can
me
I
see-
re-roll? Like I
You
do
could
one
s-
and I miss,
you-
and I do another.
You could spend 1 XP in order to re-roll, yes.
I don't want him to fall down the pit. That sounds cray. Okay,
No.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
Okay.
Oh my god, are you freaking for real?
Oh
Jesus,
my
where are you?
god.
Okay, you're screwed, Wheat. Amelia, rip Amelia.
But it's not just Amelia who is screwed,
Yeah,
as
you rolled the
AAA's whip gets entangled around Amelia's ankle. But AAA was not prepared for the heavy weight of Amelia's masculine body pulling her over the edge of this pit. Pulling him over the edge of this pit. So AAA, you actually lose your footing and you go falling down the pit as well. Both of you collapse like 15 feet down in a heap. So let's see. I wonder if there's a part of the game about falling damage somewhere in here. I'm
my
sure there
God.
is.
15 feet though. That's a lot.
I just turned to Pocket. I'm just like, these two got to learn. Cthulhu's not easy, Pocket.
I offer. That's right. These are your 2 apprentices.
These are my apprentices, Pocket. You see what I'm working with is not. I might have chosen poorly.
Oh yeah, no. I offer. I give you my cigarette, and I'm gonna decide to go down after them by climbing once you get their damage figured out. Big old sigh, like, these guys.
I'm going to just say it's 4 damage.
Okay.
So both of you take 4 damage. And it ignores armor because It's just like an impact against the ground.
So that just means my might's at 6 now.
Yeah. Is might our health pool then?
Does it
Yes.
go for int for nanos, or is it might as well?
No, it all damage takes from your might pool first. When your might pool hits 0, you move one step down on the damage track, which is like you move from hail to impaired. And then it takes from your speed pool. When you hit 0 in speed, you move from impaired to, I think, debilitated, which is like real bad. And when your intellect hits 0, you're dead. So there are also attacks that deal damage to other pools. So like JP's poison deals speed damage, for example, which to NPCs, it just takes away their hit points. But for you guys, like a poison that dealt speed damage would reduce your speed pool first instead of doing damage to your might pool.
Gotcha.
So you land on a platform down at the bottom that's actually got all these gears and wheels that are attached to these 4 runners on the side of this shaft. And it's not too far down, and the shaft itself is still pretty rough. So it seems like the sort of thing that your companions could climb down in order to reach you. And there's a large arched opening that opens into a new chamber. So Bleen and Pocket, what are you guys going to do?
I'm climbing down. The minute they go over the edge, I'm cigarette is passed off. It's time to go down and get these guys.
Okay, so this is actually quite sloped, and it's quite rough, so it's a pretty easy task to climb down. So go ahead and give yourself a roll. No problem. You make your way down without any difficulty. Bleen?
I would have to climb down, right? That's the only.
Yeah.
Could I go fucks with the panel? Do I have that? Just to see if I
you
could get
try.
the mechanism to work. Yeah, I want to try.
Yeah, sure. So it's an intellect task to try and activate this panel. Do you want to spend effort? It looks like a pretty epic task.
Oh yeah, I want to spend effort
to activate a panel that has no power.
Yeah.
Okay, so you spend 3 points from your intellect pool in order to reduce the difficulty. Now it's just hard, but you think it is something you could achieve if you're really lucky.
Okay, I just unsheathe the tentacle and just press it on there, hoping that Cthulhu is with me today.
Yeah.
Fuck.
You lay your boob-like tentacle upon the panel, and Cthulhu does not appear to be with you.
Okay.
Cthulhu does not flow out of your tentacle and activate.
It doesn't shock him?
No, because you cut the cord that was providing power, so there's no power to it anymore.
You're lucky.
Yeah, I just
lucky,
I just kind of take another drag from the sig because that arm's working the sig, the tentacle is working the panel, and then I just flick that off and put the sheath back on, and then start to climb down.
The ever warm sock.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Give us a roll for climbing down. It's easy.
18.
No problem at all. If only you'd rolled that early.
Yeah. Right. Right.
You make your way down to where the others are at the bottom, and there's this lattice work metal that's actually incredibly fine. It's thousands of crisscrossed strands of metal, finer than any metal you've ever seen before. It's truly, this is not something that exists in the modern world. And the cavern that this opening opens into, there's a large chamber of steel inside of this monolith that rises above you, with lines scored into the surface of the dome in an irising pattern that arcs up and away. The ceiling is probably 50 feet up. And it's actually very dimly lit with faint red lighting from glowing globes that are clinging to the ceiling. And these look just like the nodule that was sort of attached at the entrance to the cavern. And on the far wall, across this chamber, there's an archway that rises 20 feet into the air with an iris door that's snapped shut in the center of it. And there's another panel. Once again, there's nothing blinking on it at all next to this iris door. And there's actually lettering that's around the archway.
Can we read the lettering?
I can try. I have Decipher.
The lettering is in an alien language, and at first glance, none of you know it. On the right wall, there is another hallway that descends on a curve down through the rock, and on the left wall there's a white synth curtain splashed with red paint. And you actually hear the banging of metal on metal from far away down the left sort of opening. So, Pocket, you wanted to try and decipher the writing around this
Yes.
thing, yeah?
Before we do anything, we need to figure out what is going on here. So I tried to decipher it.
Okay, so you are a jack. And
JP looks really confused about his chips.
what is decipher? That's in character options, right, Jack?
Examine a piece of writing or code in a language you don't understand. Make an intellect roll of 3 or higher based on complexity. Upon
Yeah.
success, you get a gist of what it says.
Okay, cool. So, this is a challenging task for you. Do you have any intellect edge?
Yeah, 1.
Cool. So you can spend this for free. So you go over to this writing that's around the curved edge of this archway, and you spend some time studying it. So go ahead and make yourself a roll. Do you want to spend effort?
No.
Okay, so you're successful, and due to your knowledge of ancient lore and sort of an ethereal, instinctual understanding of writing and lettering, you think that this lettering says something along the lines of, protect the origin of all culture and humanity. Praise be unto him. Something like that.
This is around one of the doorways.
Yeah, the large arched doorway
Okay.
at the end of the hall, 20 feet high with an iris door in the middle.
Well, that's not very helpful.
I'm just like, Pocket, what'd you read? What did you figure that out?
Some gibberish. Nothing important.
If I look at the wall, are there any more control panels?
There are no more control panels in this room, though looking around, there are actually like a large number of piles of like junk and rock that's sort of fallen from the ceiling. Sort of you can see up above, like some of the steel has actually rusted and fallen away. And there are a couple of ornamental pillars that just rise about 15 feet into the air. And all of a sudden, from around some of these columns, there pops a number of people pop out, and they look at you with faces. And you look at them, and they are sort of
They
like
have faces.
yeah. And the
No
reason I
way.
say that, I will explain in a moment. These are grotesque, hunched over, bestial, pale-skinned abhumans, and they only have skin where their eyes should be. So they're not looking at you with their eyes at all. They all have blue paint spatterings across their chest. What do you do?
Say, hey, I remember you from prison.
How
No,
many
I don't say that.
do we count?
There are 5 of them, all sort of back the way you came from.
Are they looking at us in anticipation? Do they look aggressive? Like what?
2 or 3 of them are baring their teeth, and one of them is like licking his fingers.
Can you really quickly once again tell me exactly what that thing said?
It says approximately, because you can only get a gist of what it says, right?
Right.
It says something like, protect the origin of humanity and intellect, praise be unto him.
They don't have eyes.
They don't have eyes.
I haven't told anyone else what it says, right? So
Correct.
okay, can I have the ability to take advantage of as a special ability. Is it possible to use my knowledge of what that says to be like, hey, praise be unto him, fellas.
You know what?
We're here to come talk it out.
I'd give you that. I'd give you an advantage to interact with these strange creatures based on manipulating that knowledge. Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I would like to do. I'm like, hey, Praise the big guy. What's up?
Now,
What's going
Pocket.
on? Yeah.
Do you speak any other languages than the truth?
No.
All right,
And
so-
I assume that they understand me. It's just I'm not.
Go ahead and give your roll.
16.
Damn, dude, that's pretty freaking good. You know what? Like, I'm gonna say that a couple of them are sort of like advancing towards you on all fours with like bare teeth and slavering jowls, and then you're like, "Hey, praise be unto the big guy!" And they just sort of stop and they look at you and they sort of like spout something in some strange alien language in your direction. What do you do?
I point to the arch and say,
I looked very
the one
closely.
in front. The one in front, who actually, he's got like a big blue sort of paint streak across his face. He raises up his hands and he goes, and
I
he,
do
like,
the
collapses.
exact same.
Yeah.
I do the
Oh
exact
man.
same.
Awesome. All 5 of them actually like raise their hands and just go, and they all like collapse onto the floor.
I look around very confused and then just jump in. I'm like, you should.
I see Pocket doing
see
this, and I
Pocket
just
doing
do
this,
it.
And I do it too. Yeah.
Okay,
I'm just like,
okay.
I'll
"Alright."
start doing it.
Amelia, are you? Yeah.
What the fuck am I doing with these clowns?
Yeah.
Okay. Pocket, like the one with the big blue like handprint across his face, he like comes and like grabs your shoulder very gently but very firmly, and he like brings you up to the doorway, and he like presses his hands against the doorway and puts his face up against it, and he goes, and you actually notice, now that you can get a better look at them, that they've all got these strange sort of like natural growths of metal coming out of the backs of their heads.
They kind of look like me.
Yeah, actually, they kind of do. It looks
Can
more
I-
organically integrated into their bodies, but they've got some kind of metal appendage on the back of their head.
Can I, while I'm up, I assume I'm very, like, almost face to face with this guy? While
Yeah,
we're up against
absolutely.
the-
His breath stinks, bro.
I've smelled some bad breath. I hang out with these 3. So I, while I'm there, sort of, kind of half mimicking what he's doing up against the door, can I look him over to see if he has anything besides flesh over his eyes to see with? Like how he could determine where we were and what we were doing, and like how he's able to visualize our presence?
Huh, you know what? Give me an intellect task. And this is challenging. You're trying to sort of, understand these creatures that you've never seen before.
Okay.
10. You know what? You give them a once over, and you don't quite come to any understanding of what these creatures are or how they operate. But towards the back of the room, 2 more of the same creatures drop in and snarl, and then they start running across the ground towards the others. What do you do?
I make a path for them. I'd step out of their way.
Oh, so you clear the way?
Yeah, I just put my back up against the wall and wait for them
Okay,
to-
cool. These 2 newcomers come like running towards the end of the hallway, and they run like the full length of the hallway, sort of. And then when they reach the end of the hallway, they full body leap on 2 of the creatures that you're with and just start like biting the shit out of them and tearing them apart. And you actually notice that these ones have like red markings on them instead of the blue markings. They've still got the same sort of like organic metal growing out of the backs of their heads, but in this dim light that's cast by the hedge magic from AAA and the red glow from above, you can just see this terrifying battle where there's like claws and teeth and snarling and rending, and ultimately the blue guys win out, but one of them lies gurgling with his life's blood leaking out onto the floor as the others mop up these 2 interlopers.
Can I approach the one who's just been wounded and see if there's anything I can do to?
Yeah, actually, you could try to attempt a healing action, which I think is an intellect task. Let me double check this here.
In an effort to try to keep this con going for as long as we can, I would do that.
Healing is an intellect task. The difficulty is equivalent to the number of points healed. So,
I have a question, Steven. So I apparently have 3 books, and I'm not sure. I was looking through on break, right? Like
Really?
that's a part of my starting thing, and we never really talked about it. But what are these books? You know, I just wondering if I could have a book of healing. It seems like, you know.
man, I gotta say, maybe we should take a break and figure out what the hell your books are all about.
Perfect.
Okay.
We're right on time for a break. So
Yep.
Okay.
cool. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back, go into hour 3. Still got 2 hours left. We'll see you guys after this quick break. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
Toodles.